So once again, welcome back to the session, everyone. So we are in the 4th day of our crash course, and we know that we have already covered the major areas, right? So we have already covered the areas of audit risk, internal controls, and substantive procedure. Okay. So once again, welcome back to the session. So in this session, we will be starting with the areas of reporting as well as the area of corporate governance. Okay. So we'll just do one thing. Well, we have already learned the reporting part. So we'll just quickly revise the areas of reporting. Okay. So what all are the types of opinion that an auditor expresses on a company's financial statements? We have already covered that area, right? So what all are the types of opinion that an auditor will express on a company's financial statements?
Modified.
Yeah, modified opinion and
Unmodified.
unmodified opinion. Yeah, exactly. And how do we classify the modified opinion? Mainly we will classify it into 3 types. Which all were them?
Qualified.
Qualified,
Disclaimer.
adverse, disclaimer of opinion. Okay, qualified, adverse, and disclaimer of opinion. And how do we need to qualify unmodified opinion?
Unqualified.
Okay, it means unqualified opinion, which means that the financial statement shows a true and fair view. And what if like qualified? Financial statement shows
Material.
true and fair view, but it is subject to some reservations. And what about the adverse opinion? Adverse.
Not true.
The financial statements are not true and fair. And what about disclaimer of opinion?
Unable to express an
Yeah, we are unable to express an opinion on the financial statements due to the lack of audit evidence. So that's all about disclaimer of opinion. So these were the types of opinion on which we have studied about in the area of reporting. And as we already learned, in order to provide an opinion, we need to consider 2 things. Which all were them? First of all, we need to consider whether a mistake is material. And then we need to consider whether a mistake is pervasive. Then, to consider the mistake as material, we can either take materiality on the basis of statement of financial position, which means about on the basis of the account balance, or on the basis of class of transaction, that's SOPL. So which all were the main elements which we use for SOPL? SOPL, revenue, then profit. Yeah, gross profit, right? Revenue, profit, and gross profit. And when it comes to the statement of financial position, which are the 2 main elements? Total asset.
net asset.
Exactly, total assets and net assets. Good. Then, when it comes to the amount of total asset, how much percentage do we need to consider as material? Total asset. 1% of the total asset. What about the net assets?
2%.
2% of the net assets. Then revenue, 0.5%. Then profit, it's 5%. And finally, when it comes to gross profit, it's
0.5%.
0.5%. Exactly. Then, moving forward, well, once after considering a mistake is material, and one more thing, as we already studied, in addition to the materiality benchmark, we must also consider whether an amount is material on the basis of its nature as well, and which was one of the main element which is always be considered as material on the basis of its nature.
Related party disclosure.
Yes, exactly. Related party transactions, right? Related party transaction, which means transaction with a parent company, subsidiary company, then transaction with an associate, joint venture, or any other parties will be always be considered as material on the basis of its nature. In addition to which, transaction with a company's director, key management person, and other members will also be considered as material on the basis of the nature. Then, when it comes to the pervasiveness, so basically, when we know that the main meaning of pervasiveness is nothing but it's a possible impact that a mistake will create over a company's financial statements. So we will be considering an amount to be material on the basis of 3 factors. We need to consider whether a mistake affects multiple areas of financial statements, which means if multiple elements in the financial statements are affected, it will be pervasive. Then again, if a single area is affected or single element is affected, but it's affected substantially, then again, we need to consider it as material. Finally, if it is relating to a fundamental accounting disclosure, again, that have to be considered as pervasive. So one more time, if a misstatement affects multiple area of financial statements, it need to be considered as material. Then if a mistake affects a single area, but the substantial portion is affected, it is pervasive. Again, if it is relating to a fundamental disclosure, it have to be considered as pervasive. So this is how we will consider the pervasiveness of the misstatement. However, when it comes to an exam-based approach, how do you consider the pervasiveness when it comes to the exam approach? We need to consider whether a company is already in profit or loss. Exactly. We need to consider whether a company is already in profit, and after adjusting the amount of misstatement, if that company moves into loss, then that mistake will be pervasive. Or else, on the other hand, if a company was always being in loss, and after adjusting the misstatement, if the company is becoming a profit-based company, it will be again treated as pervasive. Say, for example, consider like this: the company is already in profit. Maybe a company was in a profit of 10,500, and there was a mistake in the company's financial statements. They actually forgot to include a salary expense, and the amount of salary expense was 12,000. And what happens when the company actually adjusts the mistake in the company's financial statements? The company will result in a loss of 1,500. Then that amount of misstatement of 12,000 can be treated as pervasive, as the reported profit is treated into losses after the mistakes are adjusted. This amount of misstatement should be treated as pervasive. Clear?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
profit is restated to loss.
The profit is restated into losses, therefore it is treated as pervasive. Okay? All right. Clear alle ellarkum? Makkale clear alle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Consider that there's a mistake in the financial statements. We will identify mistake in green color. Consider that there's a misstatement in the financial statement, which is not material and not pervasive. What opinion need to be expressed there? Unqualified or unmodified opinion. What if a misstatement is both material and pervasive? Adverse opinion. When a misstatement is both material and pervasive, adverse opinion have to be provided. And what have to be provided when a mistake is material but not pervasive?
Qualified.
Mistake is material but not pervasive, qualified opinion have to be provided. Again, suppose consider that there's a lack of audit evidence. So consider that there's a mistake in the financial statement. Well, it's not a mistake. We have asked whether this particular asset belongs to the company, but company is not able to produce evidence for this asset. And if they are unwilling to correct that particular asset's mistake in the financial statement, if that lack of audit evidence is both material and pervasive, which opinion have to be provided in that case? Disclaimer of opinion, material and pervasive. Then, when it is material but not pervasive, which opinion need to be provided?
Qualified opinion.
Qualified opinion, material, not pervasive. Then, what about if the misstatement is not material and not pervasive? Unqualified opinion need to be provided. So this is how we will be expressing the opinion of the company's financial statements. So if there is a mistake in the financial statements, which is material and pervasive, we need to provide adverse opinion. If there is a mistake which is material, not pervasive, then qualified opinion have to be provided. If there is a mistake which is not material and not pervasive, unqualified opinion need to be provided. And if there is a lack of audit evidence which is both material and pervasive, disclaimer need to be provided. Where there is a lack of audit evidence which is material but not pervasive, then qualified opinion have to be given. And if there is a lack of audit evidence which is not material and not pervasive, unqualified opinion have to be provided in that case. Clear, everyone? Okay. So this is how we will be expressing opinion on a company's financial statements. Then, after expressing the opinion, well, we have studied about additional paragraphs which have to be included in a company's financial statements, right? So the first one out of which was emphasis of matter paragraph. Then, okay, I will write the full form better. So first of all, we studied about emphasis of matter paragraph. Then what else? Other,
Matter paragraph.
yes, other matter paragraph. Then which was the other paragraph?
Key audit matter.
Audit matter.
Key audit
Key audit
paragraph.
matters.
Key audit matter. Then what else?
Other
Other information, right?
information.
Other information paragraph.
Basis of opinion.
Okay. Basis of opinion paragraph. Then which was the other main?
Uncertain.
Yes, material
Relating to
uncertainty relating to
Going concern.
going concern paragraph. So these are the main paragraphs that have to be provided by the auditor. So what about emphasis of matter paragraph? And the meaning parnavadi. What about emphasis of matter paragraph? When do we provide emphasis of matter paragraph?
ഒരു കാര്യം നന്നായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഫൈനാൻഷ്യൽ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റിൽ കാണിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കാര്യത്തെ കുറിച്ച് കൂടുതൽ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് കൊടുത്തു.
Good. If something is already mentioned in the financial statements and which is appropriately presented and disclosed, then if the auditor need to emphasize the same matter again, he can include emphasis of matter paragraph. But it should be a material thing, then only you will be able to emphasize that. Again, can we emphasize a misstatement in the financial statement? No. We should emphasize only about those matters which are appropriately present and disclosed in the financial statements. That's called emphasis of matter paragraph. What about other matter paragraph?
താൻ ഫൈനാൻഷ്യൽ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റിലുള്ള എന്തെങ്കിലും കാര്യം ഓഡിറ്ററിന് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആണെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നത് മേ ബി
Auditor's responsibility, auditor's report, or current year audit, right? Yeah. So if something an auditor need to provide in addition to the matters mentioned in the client company's financial statements, auditor can use other matter paragraph. Maybe if he need to convey something relating to the current year audit or about the auditor's report or about his responsibilities, then he can use other matter paragraph. Say, for example, if the prior year audit is done by another auditor, and if the auditor need to mention that, he can include it within the other matter paragraph. Or mental അപ്പം കറണ്ട് ഇയർ ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ്സിനകത്ത് പറഞ്ഞേക്കുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾക്ക് പുറമെ എന്തെങ്കിലും പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അത് പറയാനുള്ളതാണ് അതർ മാറ്റർ പാരഗ്രാഫ്. Then one of the main special paragraph is a key audit matter paragraph. What is one of the main specialty? Do we need to provide key audit matter for every engagement? No.
Listed companies.
Exactly. We will provide it only for listed companies. And what about the key audit matter paragraph? What they have to be included there?
Those charged with the governance side communicate ചെയ്ത്.
Yeah, those charged with governance side communicate ചെയ്ത കാര്യങ്ങൾക്കകത്ത് നിന്നും എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് യൂസേഴ്സിനെ അറിയിക്കേണ്ടത് അത് പറയാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് അല്ലേ? Okay, so key audit matter paragraph will be specifically be used only for listed entity. That too, it will be used for the purpose of mentioning about any matters that have to be conveyed to the users. And this key audit matters will be selected from those matters that we have already communicated to those charged with governance. Okay. Then what about other information paragraph? Or what do you mean by other information, first of all? What do you mean by other information?
Financial or non-financial information which is to be included in the annual report.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The financial and non-financial informations included in a company's annual report will be known as other information. And other information paragraph will be used specifically for mentioning about other information, right? So consider that if the client company's annual report contains any information that is either financial or non-financial thing, it can be called as another information. An auditor's duty is to include other information paragraph to mention about any matters relating to the other information, which means any matter relating to the things which is already being mentioned in the company's annual report. But we have studied one thing very importantly. If the other information paragraph is specifically used for the purpose of mentioning about the mistake in other information, then other information paragraph should be provided immediately after
basis of
opinion.
Basis of opinion.
Okay. അത് എപ്പോഴും ഓർത്ത് വെക്കാട്ടോ. അപ്പം ആനുവൽ റിപ്പോർട്ടിനകത്തുള്ള എന്ത് കാര്യത്തെ കുറിച്ച് മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്യാൻ അതർ ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ പാരഗ്രാഫ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാം. പക്ഷെ അതർ ഇൻഫർമേഷനകത്തുള്ള മിസ്റ്റേക്കിനെ കുറിച്ച് പറയാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണെങ്കിൽ basis of opinion paragraph other information paragraph. Okay. Then moving forward, what do you mean by basis of opinion paragraph? Basically, when do we include the basis of opinion paragraph?
Opinion.
The basis of opinion paragraph will be mainly be used for the purpose of providing about the reasons why we have provided a specific opinion. Suppose consider that if we have expressed a modified opinion on the company's financial statements, and the reason for modification will be mentioned within basis of opinion. So mainly we will be quantifying about the misstatement in the basis of opinion paragraph. About എന്ത് കാരണം കൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ഒരു സ്പെസിഫിക് ഒപ്പീനിയൻ കൊടുത്തത് എന്ന് പറയാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന പാരഗ്രാഫാണ് ബേസിസ് ഓഫ് ഒപ്പീനിയൻ പാരഗ്രാഫ്. FSനകത്തുള്ള മിസ്റ്റേക്ക് എന്താണ്? ആ മിസ്റ്റേക്കിനെ കുറിച്ച് നമ്മൾ എഴുതുന്നുണ്ടാവുക ബേസിസ് ഓഫ് ഒപ്പീനിയൻ പാരഗ്രാഫിന്റെ അകത്തായിരിക്കും. Again, we will only include only material matters in basis of opinion paragraph, because if there is a immaterial mistake, definitely we won't go for the modification of opinion. In that case, we are not required to include that immaterial misstatement in the basis of opinion paragraph. Okay. And the very final paragraph is the material uncertainty relating to going concern paragraph. And then material uncertainty relating to going concern paragraph.
Going concern affecting the materials.
Going concern affecting the mistake. Mistake uncertainty.
Uncertainty.
Yeah. Suppose consider that if there is an uncertainty in a company's going concern abilities there, and the company have already appropriately presented and disclosed about the uncertainty relating to going concern in the company's financial statements, and if the auditor need to emphasize on the same matter, then the auditor can use material uncertainty relating to going concern paragraph. And the auditor will use this paragraph only if the going concern assumption of the company is appropriate, as well as it is properly presented and disclosed in the FS. Going concern related to uncertainty in the uncertainty already financial statements properly present and disclose emphasize using the paragraph material uncertainty relating to going concern paragraph. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. Then we have also studied about the reporting relating to going concern, right? So suppose consider that there is a misstatement in the, suppose consider that if the going concern assumption of the company is appropriate, which opinion have to be provided if the going concern assumption of the company is appropriate? Unmodified opinion need to be provided. What about if the going concern assumption of the company is inappropriate? Adverse opinion have to be provided. Okay. If it is mentioned in the scenario that the company's going concern assumption is appropriate, but there is an uncertainty which is adequately disclosed. So there's a going concern assumption is appropriate, but the company have appropriately presented and disclosed in the financial statement. So which opinion have to be provided? Unmodified itself can be given, but what we need to do, we need to provide material uncertainty relating to going concern paragraph also along with the report. Then what if the going concern assumption of the company is appropriate, but uncertainty is not appropriately disclosed? Going concern assumption is appropriate, but uncertainty is not disclosed. What we need to provide in that case?
Qualified.
Not go for that. Before that, you need to consider whether company have appropriately disclosed about going concern, or the company haven't disclosed about both going concern as well as about the uncertainty. If the company have not just disclosed about uncertainty alone, in that case, which opinion have to be provided? Qualified. If nothing is specified relating to going concern, then what need to be provided?
Adverse
opinion. Okay. Going concern assumption appropriate ആണ്, പക്ഷെ uncertainty ഉണ്ട് adequately disclose ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. Uncertainty നെ കുറിച്ച് മാത്രമാണ് പറയാത്തതെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ qualified opinion. Going concern നെ കുറിച്ചും പറഞ്ഞിട്ടില്ല എന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് ഒപ്പീനിയൻ കൊടുക്കണം? Adverse opinion. Clear ആണോ പ്രിൻസി? Okay. Then if the management is unwilling to make the assessment, management is not making assessment relating to going concern, in that case, which opinion need to be provided? If the management is unwilling to make the assessment, management is unwilling to make the assessment. First case, disclaimer of opinion. If management is unwilling to extend the assessment, in that case,
Qualified.
qualified opinion have to be provided. Remember this, right? Okay. So this was the theoretical area which we learned in relation to the reporting as well as relating to the going concern disclosures. So we will just do one thing. We will start with the question practice. Okay. So literally, we need to cover questions in relation to paragraphs, then normal reporting question. In addition to which, we need to consider the question relating to going concern as well. Okay. Yes. So we will just do one thing. We will start with the same question itself. We will start with the question called Gooseberry. Please do one thing. Please read the introductory paragraph of Gooseberry and research and development expenditure and about the research and development expenditure. Let me know once you're done, okay? And always keep in mind, whenever you read a question for the reporting, always make a note of the profit and total assets amount. Done? So, okay. So it is 1st July 2015. You are the manager of Cranberry and Co. You are currently responsible for the audit of Gooseberry Company which develops and manufactures health and beauty products and distributes these to wholesale customers. Its draft profit before tax is 6.4 million and total asset is 37.2 million. So we have got the profit figure as well as the total asset figure. Then, with regarding research and development, Gooseberry Company spent 1.9 million in the current year developing 9 health and beauty products, all of which are at different stages of development. Once they met the recognition criteria under IAS 38 intangible asset for development expenditure, Gooseberry Company includes the cost incurred within intangible assets. Once the production commences, intangible assets are amortized on straight line basis. Management believes that amortization policy is reasonable. Approximation of assets useful life in the industry as their constant demand for innovative new products. So they have just given us an overview with regarding the research and development expenditure, and they have specified that they have spent around 1.9 million for developing nine new health and beauty products. Okay. And now we get the requirement for reporting question. So they have asked us to discuss the issues that are mentioned over here. And they have also asked us the impact that will be created over the auditor's report if these issues are remaining unresolved. So please do this part of this question, which is relating to the reporting. Okay, everyone, please do start with it. Done? Okay. So first of all, let's go through the scenario. They have mentioned us that during the audit, the team discovers that the intangible asset balance includes 4,40,000 related to one of the 9 new health and beauty product development products, which does not meet the criteria for capitalization. As this project is ongoing, Finance Director has suggested that no adjustment is made in the 2015 financial statements. She is confident that project will meet the criteria for capitalization in 2016. This is what it's mentioned to us. So what is the amount of misstatement here? What's the amount of misstatement here?
40,000.
Okay, misstatement is 4,40,000. So once the misstatement is identified, what we need to do the next? We need to identify whether this mistake is material or pervasive. Okay, so which are the amount we have got for considering the materiality? We have got both the profit and total asset, right? So profit of the company is 6.4 million and the amount of misstatement is
440,000.
440, so 0.44 million into 100. And on the basis of total asset, the amount of misstatement is again 0.44 divided by 37.2.
37.2.
Okay, so what's the amount, percentage of profit this misstatement constitutes?
6.8.
6.8 percentage. Okay, and what about the total asset?
1.1.
1.1% of the total asset. So is it material?
Yes.
Yes.
Because we know that we have already discussed on the materiality benchmark, and as we learned, if the amount of misstatement is more than 5% of the profit, it need to be considered as material. And if the amount of misstatement is greater than 1% of the total asset, again, it have to be considered as material. So this mistake is material both on the basis of total asset as well as on the basis of the profit of the company. And is this a pervasive mistake?
Yes.
No.
No.
Is it pervasive?
No.
No. Why?
Not pervasive.
The profit won't reach. It's not extended into losses.
Exactly, because the company is having a profit of 6.4 million, which means 64 lakh, right? So
material.
Okay. Yeah. If the misstatement is adjusted within the profit, but then still the company will be in profit itself, right? Because the amount of misstatement is just 4,40,000 and you have got in total of 64 lakh as profit. So the company will never be restated into loss if the if the misstatement is adjusted in the profit. So it's a mistake which is material but not pervasive. So if a mistake in the company's financial statements is material but not pervasive, which opinion have to be expressed? A misstatement is material, not pervasive. Which opinion?
Qualified opinion.
We need to provide with a qualified opinion. So qualified opinion have to be provided here. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
Yes. So qualified opinion. So will you get 5 marks by just calculating and finding out the types of opinion?
No.
No. You have to clearly specify the answer in accordance with the performer, right? So first of all, what do we need to provide as the answer? Fact in the scenario. Then what's next?
The statement.
Accounting treatment have to be specified. Then
Misstatement.
Okay.
Material.
Then we need to mention whether it is material or not. Then pervasive. Good. Then what else? Opinion have to be provided. And finally, basis of opinion have to be provided. Only if your answer contains all these 5 elements, you will be getting in total of 5 marks. Okay. So how we need to provide as the answer? I'll just tell you a sample answer. You just need to write it down as a single paragraph itself. There's no issues for that. So first of all, you will start with the fact in the question. You need to mention that the company have capitalized. The company is currently having development of 9 new health and beauty products, out of which one of the products which the company have capitalized relating to 4,40,000 does not meet the criteria for capitalization as per intangible assets. Then, in accordance with IAS 38 intangible assets, the company should expense all the research expenses within the company's P&L, and only those expenses relating to intangible asset that meets the criteria for capitalization should be included within the company's assets. Since the company have capitalized some of the revenue expenditures, the capitalization assets of the company are overstated, expenses are understated. The misstatement of 4,40,000 represents 6.8% of the profit and 1.1% of the total asset. Therefore, it is material. However, it cannot be treated as pervasive as the profit is not restated into losses. Since it's a misstatement which is material but not pervasive, auditor need to provide with a qualified opinion stating that except for the mistakes identified in relation to the intangible asset, rest of the financial statement shows a true and fair view. Following the opinion paragraph, auditor should also provide basis of opinion to provide the reasons for giving qualified opinion. Clear? Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do go through the answer once after writing a sample answer. Just go through the answer which is specified in the revision kit. But the thing is, like in the revision kit, the elements will be same, but they might have mixed up it in multiple answers. Like in one answer, they might be following the same format. In another answer, they might change the format, but the content will be same. Like in some cases, they might talk about the misstatement initially, and then only they will mention to the fact. Or they will first of all mention right away with the accounting treatment. After that, they will mention fact. But these elements will be included in every answer. So once again, what all things have to be included within the answers? First of all, you have to include the fact in the scenario, then accounting treatment, then misstatement have to be specified, materiality have to be provided, then we need to clearly specify whether it is pervasive or not, then opinion need to be provided, and then finally, basis of opinion should also be specified. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we'll just do one thing. We'll move on to another question again. Okay, do one thing. Please read this introductory paragraph. Please read this introductory paragraph.
Done.
Okay. Yeah. So just keep one thing in mind that we are going to do a question on the Canopus company now. Okay. So they have mentioned us with regarding two company, Vega Vistas and Canopus company. And Vega Vistas is a not-for-profit charitable organization, and Canopus company is a manufacturer of paint products. So we will be doing question on Canopus company. Okay. Yeah. Then just read the Canopus company's restructuring provision. Please go through here. Restructuring provision. Okay. Yeah. So we have clearly specified, they have clearly specified that Canopus company have announced a restructuring whereby some of the factories will be refurbished and they are planning to purchase new plant and equipment. They are also planning to train new staff. So on the basis of this, they have given us a reporting question. Okay, so now please go through this reporting part. And after reading that part, please calculate the materiality, consider the pervasiveness, and try to find out the opinion that need to be expressed on the company's financial statements. Done? Okay. Yeah. During the audit of Canopus Company's restructuring provision, the audit team discovered that 2,70,000 of the costs included did not meet the criteria for inclusion as per IAS 37, provision, contingent liabilities, and contingent asset. The finance director has suggested that no adjustment is made in 2015 financial statements, as the provision is a matter of judgment and the provision has to be deemed reasonable by the board. Discuss the issue and describe the impact on auditor's report. So they have mentioned as that there's a misstatement in relation to the restructuring provision. They have included an expense which does not meet the criteria. So what's the amount of total misstatement here? Yeah, it's 2,70,000. So out of 2,70,000, have you considered whether it is material or not?
Material.
So which is the benchmark that they have provided us? They have given us that the total equity and liability of company is 11.6 million. So do we already learned about any benchmarks in relation to the company's equity and liability? No. Then how do we calculate that?
Yes.
Yes.
Total asset is equal to.
Yeah, the total asset of the company is equal to equity plus liability, right? So this 11.6 million is shown as equity and liability, but this amount will be same for the total asset as well. So you can calculate it on the basis of the total asset. So 0.27 divided by 11.6 million into 100. So how much percentage of the total asset constitutes amount of misstatement?
2.82.
2.8%. Okay, therefore it is material. So do we need to consider it as pervasive? Have they provided us a profit figure? No. But on the basis of the restructuring provision which we received, so they have mentioned as a company have got a total of 2.1 million as restructuring provision. So do we need to consider it as pervasive? Very simple question.
No.
Which word to treat, you know?
Substantive area affect.
Okay, it is not a misstatement.
Statement
Affects substantial part of the financial statements, right? Financial statements in a significant area affect either. No, because out of 2.1 million total provision, only 2,70,000 is misstated. Therefore, it is not a misstatement that would substantially affect the financial statements. Therefore, it need not be treated as pervasive. Clear? Okay. Therefore, it's a misstatement which is material, not pervasive. So, which opinion have to be provided there?
Qualified.
Yeah, we need to provide with a qualified opinion. Clear, everyone? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Then again, while writing the answer, what all have to be included as part of the answer? First, you should mention to the fact, then misstatement,
Misstatement.
sorry, fact, then accounting treatment, then misstatement, then materiality, pervasiveness, opinion, and you should also mention about the basis of opinion. Clear?
Yes.
Is that clear, everyone? Paka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir.
Sorry?
കറക്റ്റ് ശരിക്കും അത് സിഗ്നിഫിക്കന്റ് ആണോ എന്നുള്ളത് ശരിക്കും എങ്ങനെ അത് മനസ്സിലാവും? ലൈക്ക് ഫിഗർ ഇപ്പോ ഇത്ര പെർസെന്റേജിന് മേലിലാണെങ്കിൽ സിഗ്നിഫിക്കന്റ് എന്നുള്ളൊരു ക്രൈറ്റീരിയ
നമ്മൾ പറയും more than 40%, more than 60% എന്നൊക്കെ പറയും. അത് ഓരോരുത്തരുടെ ജഡ്ജ്മെന്റിന്റെ ബേസിസ് പറയുന്ന എങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ 40% മേലെയാണെങ്കിൽ മാത്രം സിഗ്നിഫിക്കന്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതി. Okay. Yeah. Then moving on to the next question, which we already done, but which is a rare kind of question. Jasmine Company. Just go through the introduction paragraph. Jasmine Company's introduction paragraph. Okay, so they have just given us the total assets figure and the profit before tax figure, right? Nothing more over there. So please do one thing. Please read this paragraph in relating to the overdraft. And after going through this paragraph, then read the scenario and give answer for this question. So they have asked us something relating to going concern. And they have asked us to provide an impact on the auditor's report if adequate disclosure in relation to going concern is made and if inadequate disclosures in relation to the going concern is provided. So please go through that question.
Sir, മറ്റേ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യനിൽ ഒരു ഡൗട്ട് ആയിക്കോട്ടെ.
Please.
40% മേലാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ അങ്ങനെ സിഗ്നിഫിക്കന്റ് സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് ആയിട്ട് കണക്കാക്കണം.
അതെ.
ഓക്കെ സർ.
Done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's go through the scenario. The overdraft of 5.1 million has increased significantly since the prior year. The directors have informed you that overdraft facility which the company requires in order to operate on daily basis is due for renewal in August 2015, and they are confident that it will be renewed. So they have told us that there's an overdraft of 5.1 million and it is very high as compared with the prior year. And the overdraft is already expired. Therefore, they have applied for the renewal of the overdraft, but they have not yet received the renewal, but they are confident that they will get the renewal in the very near future. Then, during the final audit, the finance director has informed the audit team that Jasmine Company's bankers will not make a decision on renewal of the overdraft facility until after the audit report is signed. The audit engagement partner is satisfied that use of going concern basis is appropriate. Directors have agreed to include some brief going concern disclosure in the draft financial statement, and audit team still have access to adequacy of these disclosures. Okay. So, what is the actual issue here? What's the actual issue?
Overdraft facility like day to day.
Okay, they need overdraft facility in order to operate day-to-day basis, and they are yet to get the renewal of that, right? So what happens if they do not get a renewal for their overdraft?
Daily operations.
There will be an uncertainty relating to the going concern. There is an uncertainty relating to going concern. So this is what you need to issue. Sorry, this is what you need to provide as a fact. Then, what about their going concern assumption? Is it reasonable or not? Reasonable or not?
Reasonable.
Yes, it is reasonable because it's already mentioned in the question that the audit engagement partner is already satisfied that use of going concern assumption is appropriate. So going concern assumption is appropriate. So they are okay with that. So the question is very simple now. The company's going concern assumption is appropriate, but there's an uncertainty which is adequately disclosed. There is a going concern uncertainty which is appropriately not presented and disclosed in the financial statements. So directly നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള theory തന്നെയല്ലേ അത്? അല്ലേ? Going concern assumption is appropriate, but there is material uncertainty which is adequately disclosed. Going concern assumption is appropriate. There is material uncertainty which is not adequately disclosed. What need to be provided when it is adequately disclosed? Unmodified opinion have to be provided. And in addition to it, we need to provide material uncertainty relating to going concern paragraph. And what about the going concern assumption is appropriate, but uncertainty is not adequately disclosed? We need to consider whether they have not disclosed just about uncertainty, or whether they have also disclosed, or whether they have also omitted disclosures in relation to the going concern as well. So which disclosures they have actually omitted here? Yes, only relating to uncertainty, because it is mentioned that they are already providing brief going concern disclosures, right? Our already brief going concern disclosures കൊടുക്കാം എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളോട് പറഞ്ഞത് എന്താ? Uncertainty ne kurichu parayatha case മാത്രമാണ്. So if the uncertainty is not mentioned, then what we need to provide? Qualified opinion. And following the qualified opinion paragraph, we should also provide basis for qualified. Okay, that's it. Clear? Okay, so it's almost like a direct question whereby you need to interpret the scenario, and once after understanding that it's an uncertainty relating to going concern, just follow the requirement. That's it. Okay, so this is how you need to express your answer. So first of all, you just give a briefing on the fact that it's an uncertainty relating to going concern. About the uncertainty relating to going concern, then just give a heading for disclosures are adequate. So if the disclosure is adequate, auditor need to include material uncertainty relating to going concern session, and the opinion will be not modified. And after that, auditor need to provide opinion, basis of opinion paragraph. And if the disclosure is inadequate, then it will reflect in a misstatement in the company's financial statement. If the mistakes are not adequately disclosed, then it is material but not pervasive. Then the opinion need to be provided as qualified. And following the opinion paragraph, basis of qualified opinion paragraph should also be provided. That's all about it. Clear, everyone? Clear on apply? Okay.
Sir, adverse opinion ആണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ basis paragraph കൊടുക്കണം.
Basis of opinion എപ്പോഴും കൊടുക്കണം. Adverse opinion ആണ് basis of adverse opinion കൊടുക്കണം. Opinion paragraph ആണെങ്കിൽ basis of opinion, basis qualified opinion ആണ് basis of qualified opinion, adverse opinion ആണ് basis of adverse opinion. കേട്ടോ? Okay. And finally, we will do one more question from the same area. So we will just do one thing. We'll do a question on this part. So please read the perfect company's introductory paragraph. Perfect company's introduction.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Then please read the contamination legal claims area. Okay. Done? Then please go through this area and give answer for the reporting part.
Yes.
Done? All done?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's go through the scenario. So first of all, they have mentioned us that on 25th February 2015, it was discovered that bags of canned cat food have been contaminated with insecticide, which could be harmful to cat. These bags have had been dispatched in November 2014 to 247 retail stores. By 31st March 2015, Perfect Company had received legal claim totaling 1.9 million from the customers whose cat has eaten contaminated food. So they have told us that there is some legal claim in relation to the company's products. Then again, they have given us paragraph on the same thing. The final audit is nearing completion. The audit team is satisfied that the legal claim received to the date have been appropriately reflected in the FS. However, Perfect Company's lawyer has advised you that it is possible that the significant additional legal claim may be made by the customers in future in respect of contamination. Audit engagement partner has confirmed that this is a contingent liability that requires disclosure. The finance director has agreed to disclose some of the potential claim in financial statements, but the audit team is yet to confirm the adequacy of the disclosures. Discuss the issue and describe the impact on the auditor's report of Perfect Company of both adequate and inadequate disclosure of contingent liability. It's a very simple question, right? So they itself have given us all the information in the scenario itself. So what they have told us that there is a contingent liability which the company have to disclose in the company's financial statements relating to the legal claim. And they have just asked us, what if adequate disclosure relating to the contingent liability is provided? And what if the adequate disclosure relating to contingent liability is not provided? So what we need to do when the contingent liability is properly disclosed in the financial statements, which opinion have to be provided? First of all, will there be any mistake in that case? Mistakes and then contingent liability correctly disclose either? No, there won't be any mistakes in the company's financial statements. So in case if there is no mistake in the company's financial statements, then which opinion need to be provided in that case?
Unqualified.
Yes, we need to provide with an unqualified opinion. And do we need to provide anything in addition to the unqualified opinion?
Emphasize of matter.
Why?
ഒരു കാര്യം appropriate ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്.
Exactly. And is that material?
Material.
Right? Because it's 1.9 million. Right. So, namakku endha parayan patta? because it's already material, as it will definitely affect the user's understanding about the financial statements, right? Because it will be a matter that will affect the user's decision, so it have to be treated as material. If the matter is appropriately presented and disclosed in the company's financial statements, then there are no mistakes in the company's financials. Therefore, since the financial statements is appropriately prepared, the auditor need to provide with an unmodified or unqualified opinion. In addition to which, the auditor should also give an emphasis of matter paragraph to emphasize about the matter which is appropriately presented and disclosed in the financial statements, as the auditor might believe that it will affect the user's decision. Clear? Then, what if this is not properly presented and disclosed? What if the contingent liability is not disclosed in the financial statements? Will that be a material mistake?
Mistake.
Eh?
Yes.
Mistake.
Contingent liability
Disclose
mistake.
Disclose ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല.
Yes, they are not disclosing disclosures in relation to the contingent liability. Therefore, it's a mistake in the company's financial statements. Okay. So, is there a pervasive mistake? Pervasive or
Users in the decision.
Fundamental to the user's understanding of the financial statements. Users in a decision effective on the pervasiveness in the Samith. Users in FS ne kursu manasilakanayittu fundamentally vendor disclosure aanu nokkandathu. Ano? Allah. It is not. Therefore, it is not pervasive. So it's a mistake which is material but not pervasive. Therefore, auditor need to provide with a qualified opinion. And following the qualified opinion, auditor should also give basis of
qualified opinion.
Okay. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is what we need to mention here. Okay. So first of all, we need to state the fact that as per IAS 37, the company should have disclosed contingent liability. And in addition to which, the company should have properly provided disclosures in relation to the contingent liability. And if the disclosures are adequate, then unmodified opinion should be provided by the auditor. In addition to which, the auditor should also give emphasis of matter paragraph. This will draw attention to the disclosures in the financial statements, and they will also provide, in case of inadequate disclosure, they need to provide with a modified opinion, whereby we will show that the mistake in the financial statements is material, but it is not pervasive. So qualified opinion will be provided, and basis of qualified opinion paragraph will also be provided subsequent to the opinion paragraph to mention about the misstatement and the effect that will be created over the company's financial statements. Clear, everyone?
There are two possibilities.
They have asked us if adequate disclosure is provided and inadequate disclosure is provided. In both cases, impact. We need to write both the possibilities. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Clear on LR? Is that clear, everyone? Clear or no? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is how you will be getting questions on auditor's report. So these are the basic three set of questions which usually used to appear. But in most majority of cases, you will be getting a normal reporting question whereby they will be giving you a mistake in the company's financial statement, and they might be asking you to express opinion on that particular company's financial statements. Clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, this section very important. question
Illa, this is the main kind of question. Pinne namakku normally vednekkunna key audit matter paragraph include in the content and the theory question. Okay, that's the that's snaps share key audit matter include in the content and the okay. That's okay. Yeah. So these are the main three categories. Mainly in the category then focus here.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and now we will just do one thing. We will move to the area of corporate governance, and we'll just do one thing. We will start with the corporate governance after taking a very short break. Okay, we will take a 5 minutes break and we will continue after that. So
subsequent event important.
Subsequent events manslaki vekka orupaadu questions aine base cheyidu vararilla, but still just on the manslaki vekka standard as it.
Is corporate governance important?
Corporate governance important. Corporate governance important ആണ് കേട്ടോ. Question വരും corporate governance ചെയ്യുന്നു. Okay. Okay. So let's start with the area of corporate governance. Okay. Well, before beginning with the area of corporate governance, well, what do you mean by corporate governance? Everyone, and the corporate governance corporate governance is a system by which an organization should be governed and control the interests of the shareholders and stakeholders. Shareholders and stakeholders in interest and എങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഓർഗനൈസേഷൻ ഗവേൺ ചെയ്യണം കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യണം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന പ്രിൻസിപ്പിൾസിനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ എന്ന് വിളിക്കുക കോർപ്പറേറ്റ് ഗവേണൻസ് വിളിക്കുക. Then we have studied about the principles in relation to the UK Corporate Governance Code. So what are the principles? First of all, we learned that every company should be having a proper board of directors and they will be responsible for long-term success of the company. Then the company's head of the company and the person who is responsible for running the company should be different. And we studied that it is nothing but the head of the company will be chairman and the person who is responsible for running the company's operation will be CEO. And it literally means that the chairman and CEO should be two separate persons. Then, chairman will be having the overall leadership of the board. Chairman duty and board run. Then, unitary board executive directors should always be challenged by non-executive directors. Non-executive directors, executive directors challenge. Then, moving forward again with regarding the effectiveness. Effectiveness the board of directors should be balanced, which means there should be equal number of executive directors and non-executive directors. And every director should be having proper skill, experience, they should be independent, they should be having knowledge as well. Then there should be a proper formal and rigorous procedure for the appointment of new directors. Then again, we studied that every director should be having sufficient time for the company's activities. Then whenever a director newly joins a company, they should be provided with introductory training or induction training. Then every director should be provided with sufficient information for carrying out their duties. Then every director should be selected on the basis of formal and rigorous procedure. And their performance should also be evaluated regularly to provide performance-based payments. And every director should also be re-elected. And we have studied that the period for re-election will be 3 years. No one director should continue in the same position for more than 3 years. Every director should be re-elected at the end of every 3-year period. Then it is the responsibility of the board of directors to have a proper understanding about the company's position and company's prospects. Then again, it is their duty to assess the principal risk, which means they need to maintain a good risk management and internal control system. It is the responsibility of the board of directors to create a formal connection with the company's internal audit team. Then corporate reporting and risk management should also be controlled by them. Then while fixing remuneration, executive directors' remuneration should always be on the basis of promoting long-term success of the company. In addition to which, it is mandatory that the remuneration should only be fixed by the remuneration committee, which includes only non-executive directors. None of the executive directors should fix their own salary. Then it is the duty of the total board to have proper communication with shareholders, and is not the chairman's responsibility alone. And finally, we have also studied that during the annual general meeting, every investor should be motivated and encouraged to participate in the annual general meeting. So this is what we learned as part of the direct theory with regarding corporate governance. Remember, everyone? Okay. Then again, with regarding the company's corporate governance code, we have studied about the rules in relation to audit committee. And what was the composition of audit committee required? And then audit committee composition.
3 at least.
There should be minimum of 3 non-executive directors. And in case of a small company, it can be 2 non-executive directors. And what are the qualifications being required for the non-executive directors who are being part of the audit committee?
Financial experience.
Expertise. One should be a financial expert, which means he should be having a professional qualification, and others too should be financially literate. Yeah. And what all are the duties of the company's non-executive directors who are part of audit committee? They need to monitor the integrity of financial statements. They need to review internal financial controls. They need to review and monitor the effectiveness of the company's internal audit function. They need to provide recommendation to the board. Then they need to review and monitor independence and objectivity. It is their duty to develop and implement policy on the engagement in case if we provide any of the non-audit services. Finally, it is their duty to discharge all board's responsibility in relation to the audit committee's responsibility. So this is what we need to consider as part of the audit committee's responsibility. It's clear, right? Clear എല്ലാവർക്കും?
ഇത് നമ്മൾ അറിഞ്ഞിരിക്കും ബൈ ഹാർട്ടായിട്ട്
ബൈ ഹാർട്ടായിട്ട് ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ബൈ ഹാർട്ടായിട്ട് പഠിക്കണ്ട, പക്ഷെ ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എഴുതാൻ അറിയണം, അത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ. ചിലപ്പോൾ 5 മാർക്ക് ക്വസ്റ്റൻ ആയിട്ട് ചോദിക്കാം, റെസ്പോൺസിബിലിറ്റീസ് ഓഫ് ഓഡിറ്റ് കമ്മിറ്റി, അങ്ങനെ ചോദിച്ചാൽ എഴുതാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് കേട്ടോ. ഓക്കെ, പ്രിൻസിപ്പിൾസ് ബൈ ഹാർട്ട് പഠിക്കണ്ട. പ്രിൻസിപ്പിൾസ് നമുക്ക് ക്വസ്റ്റൻ്റെ അകത്ത് അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് മാത്രം. കൺട്രോൾ ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ് നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ച പോലെ തന്നെ ഓർത്ത് വെച്ചാൽ മതി. So let's do one thing. Well, we know that there are very limited questions on the area of corporate governance, and in addition to which we need to do one question, new question in our mock exam as well. So we'll do one thing. We'll do one all question from the past question paper. So there's a question called Tangerine Tech Company. Okay, Tangerine Tech Company. It's a question from March or June 2016 sample question paper. So let's start with this question. So everyone, please do one thing. Please read the scenario and please pick all the corporate governance deficiencies that are there in this scenario. In addition to which, try to pick the recommendations required. So basically, when you write the deficiency, always identify the deficiency and explain that particular deficiency in the company's corporate governance and provide a recommendation. Recommendation is nothing but what we learned as per the guidelines. Okay, so please start with it. കഴിഞ്ഞാണോ? പ്രിൻസി കഴിഞ്ഞാണോ?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's start with the scenario. So you are the audit manager of S&Co and you have been assigned to the audit of Tankering Tech Company, a company which is planning to list on stock exchange within 6 months. The listing rules of the stock exchange require compliance with corporate governance principles, and directors are unsure whether they are following best practice in relation to this. They have asked the audit engagement partner for their review on this matter. And the first thing, Tankering board comprised of 6 executive directors and a non-executive chairman, 3 other non-executive directors. The chairman and one of the NED are former executive directors of Tankering and on reaching retirement age were asked to take on non-executive roles. The company has established an audit committee and all NEDs are members, including the chairman who chairs the committee. All 4 members of the audit committee were previously involved in sales and production related roles. Okay, so tell me guys, what all are the issues here?
Executive, non-executive directors in the ratio.
Executives and non-executive directors ratio is not appropriate, right? Because engane ratio vendadu, how do we need the actual ratios here?
Balance.
There should be balance, which means there should be equal number of executive directors and non-executive directors. And what if there is no equal number of executives and non-executive directors? There can be chances that the executive directors might dominate the non-executive directors, right? So they might not act in an appropriate manner, which would benefit the shareholders of the company. That is what you need to mention there. So how can you provide it as an answer? First of all, identify the thing directly from the scenario. So you can mention like Tankering company has 6 executive directors and only 4 non-executive directors. Therefore, there can be chances that since there is no appropriate balance of executive and non-executive directors, the executive directors might dominate the board's decision making. Therefore, they might not appropriately act in an objective manner in order to achieve the objectives of the shareholders. And what have to be provided as the recommendation here? And there is a recommendation.
There should be a balance between the
there should be a balance between executive directors and non-executive directors. Therefore, Tankering company should consider appointing additional independent non-executive directors to the board. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Then what else is the issue? Where is the problem?
Chairman and the NEDs are former.
Chairman, NEDs, both chairman and NEDs are former executive directors of Tankering company. So will there be any issues for that?
Independent
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the main problem, right? So whenever a company has non-executive directors and chairman, they should always be independent to take objective decisions, right? So when a particular executive director is acting as the non-executive director for the company, there is always a possibility that they may lack independence and objectivity, and in that case they might not be able to carry out their duties properly. Clear? Okay. അവിടെയുള്ള റെക്കമെൻഡേഷൻ എന്തായിരിക്കും? വളരെ സിംപിൾ റെക്കമെൻഡേഷൻ. ഇവിടെ എല്ലായിടത്തും റെക്കമെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ പുറത്ത് കളയാ, പുതിയ ആൾ എടുക്കുക. എന്താ നമ്മൾ പറയാ? Only non-executive directors and chairman should be there in the company's board of directors. Therefore, the company should consider removing the chairman and non-executive directors who are not independent, and instead of which the company should appoint additional independent non-executive directors and chairman to the team. Clear? Is it clear? Okay. Then what is the other problem?
Finance related roles.
The audit committee members are from sales and production related roles. Right? Audit committee members are sales and production related roles involved. Angane endarikkum problem?
expert
ഫൈനാൻസ് എക്സ്പെർട്ടൈസ് ഇല്ലാത്ത
നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞതാണ് the audit committee should be comprising of individuals who are having financial background, especially one should be financial expert and others should be
financially literate.
Financially literate. Others should be financially literate. However, since they are not having financially literate members in the audit committee, the audit committee might not be able to carry out their duties appropriately. And what have to be provided as the recommendation here?
Remove the existing.
Yeah, the company should disperse the existing audit committee, and instead of which a new audit committee should be formed with members having sufficient financial background, and all the members should be independent non-executive directors. Clear? Clear line? Yeah. Then what's the other issue from the same paragraph?
Company audit committee NEDs and chairman are ullathu.
Yeah. Chairman is also part of the company's audit committee. So basically, chairman audit committee യുടെ ഭാഗമാവാറുണ്ടോ?
ഇല്ല.
Chairman should never be the part of audit committee. Chairman should never be part of audit committee. What will happen if the chairman is becoming part of audit committee? Chairman will not be that independent to carry out the role of audit committee, and in addition to which, definitely chairman might also not be having sufficient financial background, so he will not be able to achieve the objectives in relation to the audit committee's role. And അവിടെ കൊടുക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്ന recommendation എന്തായിരിക്കും? Same thing. The chairman should be removed from the audit committee, instead of which an additional independent non-executive director should be appointed to the team. Clear? Clear, Maklai? Okay. Okay. All directors have been members of the board for at least 4 years. As chairman does not have an executive role, he has sole responsibility for liaising with the shareholders and answering any of their questions. Company has not established an internal audit function to monitor internal controls. So what are the other problems?
4 years.
3 years.
Okay. 4 years members continue cheyana. What's the maximum period allowed for members to continue?
3 years.
3 years. What happens if re-election is not done on regular basis? ആ ബോർഡിന്റെ കോമ്പോസിഷൻ എന്തായിരിക്കില്ല, ഇൻഅപ്രോപ്രിയേറ്റ് ആയിരിക്കും, ഇൻകോമ്പീറ്റന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള മെമ്പേഴ്സ് ഒക്കെ ബോർഡിൽ ഉണ്ടാവും. ശരിയല്ലേ? ഓക്കെ. അപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ എന്ത് പറയാം? All directors are members of the board for at least 4 years. Therefore, there can be chances that incompetent board members might be continuing in the board and the composition of board might not be appropriate. Response എന്തായിരിക്കും?
Re-election.
All the directors should be re-elected, and in addition to which, re-election should be done on regular basis. All the directors should be re-elected at an interval of 3 years. Clear, Ayo? Okay. Then again, what's the other problem?
Chairman മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ ഷെയർഹോൾഡർമാരോട് സംസാരിക്കുന്നത്.
Chairman is solely responsible for communicating with the shareholders of the company. So is it the sole responsibility of the chairman to communicate it to the shareholders? No. It is the responsibility of the whole board to communicate to shareholders. So chairman matram communicate cheyidhu endaayirikkum sambhavikka? There can be chances that the chairman might not be able to sufficiently communicate about all the matters relating to the concerns raised by the shareholder. In that case, shareholders might not be getting sufficient information regarding the company's affairs. And what should be provided as a recommendation? All members of the board should be responsible for keeping satisfactory dialogue with the shareholders, and on regular basis, the company should also consider conducting general meeting. Okay. And finally, what's the other issue?
Internal control monitor.
There are no systems to monitor the company's internal control, which means they are not having an internal audit function. What will happen if there are no internal audit function? The internal control system of the company might not be operating in an effective manner. Therefore, due to which there can be chances of having control weakness, and possibilities of fraud will also be high. And what should be the recommendation for that?
Internal control
Override ഉള്ള
monitors.
internal audit.
The board should take up the responsibility of maintaining a sound risk management and internal audit function, and they must consider the cost versus benefit before establishing an internal audit function. That's it. Clear? Clear ആണോ മക്കളെ?
Yes, sir.
ഈ ക്വസ്റ്റിന്റെ ഒരു പ്രത്യേകത എന്തായിരുന്നു? ഈ ക്വസ്റ്റിനകത്ത് എത്ര സെന്റൻസ് ഉണ്ടോ അത്രയും സെന്റൻസിനകത്തും പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ശരിയല്ലേ? Okay. So I will just do one thing. I will share you the same question paper as well as its answer key. So please do practice this particular question before going through the answer key. So first of all, try to write it in your own words, and after that, just cross-check it with the answer key. And again, when you write the corporate governance weakness, always ensure one thing, that you are providing an identification part, an explanation of the deficiency in the corporate governance, and you should be providing a clear recommendation for that as well. Clear, everyone? Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is what you need to provide as part of questions relating to corporate governance weakness and recommendation. Okay? Paka?
Sir, ഇതിന് വേറെ ഉണ്ടോ?
Sorry?
ഇതിന് വേറെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് വല്ലതും ഉണ്ടോ? ഈ ഒരു ഇത് മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളതുകൊണ്ട്
ഇതാണ് നമുക്ക് ഫുൾ ഫ്ലെഡ്ജ്ഡ് ആയിട്ട് കുറെ പോയിന്റ്സ് ഉള്ളതുകൊണ്ട് ഇനി ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ഉണ്ട്, അതാണ് നമ്മൾ നമ്മുടെ മോക്ക് എക്സാമിന് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, സോ ക്ലിയർ ആണ് എല്ലാവർക്കും?
Yes, sir.
അപ്പം ഈ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആൻസർ ഇന്ന് തന്നെ എഴുതി നോക്കണേ, അതേപോലെ തന്നെ റിപ്പോർട്ടിംഗിന്റെ ആൻസർ ഇന്ന് തന്നെ എഴുതി നോക്കണേ എല്ലാവരും. ഓക്കെ, alright. So this is what we need to practice as part of the today's session. So ensure one thing, you are practicing both the areas today itself, and ഈ ഒരു particular area പ്രാക്ടീസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് വേണം നാളത്തെ സെഷനിലേക്ക് വരാൻ. നമ്മൾ അതർ ഏരിയാസ് ഓഫ് തിയറിയും അതേപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടാവുക എത്തിക്സിന്റെ പാർട്ടുമായിരിക്കും. ഓക്കെ, alright. So we will continue tomorrow. So everyone do practice this area and come for the tomorrow session.